Welcome to the Transform with Vance podcast, where transformations begin every day, and I am your host, Vance Hines. So let's get started. All right, this is Vance Hines, and I'm here with another super Ddpy success story. Stacy Podgorski, did I say that right?
Podgorski. It's
Podgorski.
Like a silent D.
All right. Silent D. Podgorski. I always wondered how you say that.
Polish.
So, all right. Polish. All right. Well, it's, now, Stacy, where do you live? Where are you coming from?
I live in Lebanon, Tennessee, but I'm originally from Illinois, a small town called Momence in Kankakee County.
Called what?
It's in Kankakee County. The town's called Momence. It's really small.
Momence. All right. But you're a Tennessean now.
Yeah, but I don't have an accent, so I feel like I have to explain. I'm from the Midwest.
How close are you to Nashville?
It's about an hour. I'm an hour east of Nashville.
So what about like the Elvis Presley home? What do you call that?
That's Graceland. I have never even looked into that. I mean, I like the King, but not a super fan.
Yeah, not a super fan. All right. Well, what I do and what I've done for everyone else is I ask them a real general question right off the bat, just to kind of give an idea of why you are considered a Ddp Yoga success story. And, you can just kind of tell just a little general, about your story, how you got to where you are. And then I start picking you apart. I start, backing up and just working, just kind of questioning this and that. So, but tell them why you are considered a Ddpy success story.
I don't know why. I mean, I've changed. I've grown a lot as a person. That's probably what makes me most successful. But to get to the growth part, I kind of have to start from the beginning, because that's not how it started. I can't remember how I heard about Ddp Yoga. I want to say it was the Arthur video, just like everybody else. But I thought about it because my boyfriend is into wrestling. We watch WWE and we've been to a couple shows. And I was like, well, if it's a wrestler, maybe he'll join with me and we can, be accountability partners. And that didn't happen, but that's okay because he's my biggest supporter and, he takes care of a lot of stuff and I'm not, it's fine. It's fine. He doesn't have to do it with me. I got plenty of friends from the community that I get to do it with, but that was like in 2016, right after I had my daughter. And I was trying to bounce back from having a baby. And all I did was open up the package. I read like the book that came with it and I set it down and I never touched it. It collected dust until we moved to Tennessee, which was right after I had my son. It was around November 2017. And, I stopped, I wasn't working anymore. So I was a stay-at-home mom and I had all this time. And I remember, hey, I got these DVDs. So I put them in and I did Energy 2.0. And I did that for like 2 months straight, and it got boring and I gave up on it, and again on the shelf they went. I did that twice, and then we went from a small tiny house that we were renting to the house that we now live in, this one that we own, and we had so much space. And then voila, the 2019 Positively Unstoppable Challenge came across my Facebook. And I was like, this is meant for me. I already have the DVDs. And I could win $1 million? Of course. Why not? And I didn't even know about the app at that time. I just had the DVDs. I didn't have a heart rate monitor. I did not even have a mat. I completed the 2019 Positively Unstoppable Challenge without all that stuff. And um, I didn't, I didn't win, obviously, but I won. I still won because Ddpy is in my life. Um, but after the challenge, I kind of fell off because at that point in time, it was about the challenge. I was doing it. My motivation was because of the challenge. And so after the challenge was over, which is like September, I kind of fell off. September, October, November, December. Then again, 2020 Positively Unstoppable Challenge happened. And yay. It's a good, it worked for me, and it did. I lost like 30 pounds, and I did really good on it. I felt good, and it worked for me. So again, I'm going to try again. But this time, because 2019, it was still all about body transformation for me. But I was kind of looking into like body positivity stuff and like dipping my toe in the water, but not fully there. But then 2020 happens, and because I took that time off, I spent a lot more time, finding accounts about anti-diet and body positivity and, loving yourself. And so when 2020 happened, instead of being, I was like, I'm going to try my hardest, and, if I win, cool. If I don't, whatever. My motto was, it's not about how much I shrink, it's about how much I grow. And that is why I'm successful. That's why I'm a Ddpy success story, because of that phrase right there. It literally stopped being about how much weight I lost. And I lost weight. I lost about 25 pounds, 30 pounds. My weight fluctuates all the time, and I don't care because I feel fantastic and I can do all kinds of things in this body, which is considered obese by BMI, which is, I don't even want to get into that. It's trash. But yeah, that's kind of the timeline, and why I'm even here is because of the Positively Unstoppable Challenge. I consider myself somebody who won it without winning it. And I became an instructor.
Congratulations. If you see me looking off to the left, what I'm doing is making notes. My journal's over here on my right side, looking off to my right side. I mean,
I know you're listening.
motto. Now tell me your motto again. I want to make sure I got it right.
It's not about how much I shrink, it's about how much I grow.
It's not about how much I shrink, comma. It's about how much I grow. All right. So now you mentioned 2 kids. How many kids total do you have?
Just the 2. My daughter is going to be 7 Wednesday, and my son is 5.
All right, 7 and 5. Those are fun ages.
Very. I can kind of give them a little freedom, but, they're brother and sister, so of course they bicker and fight, but they love each other.
All right, I'm gonna come back to all these later. That's why I'm making notes. So I'm gonna ask you about all that stuff later. So tell me about where you grew up, about the little town in Illinois, Monman or whatever it is. Tell us about
Moments. Moments, Illinois.
How do you spell it?
Momence. It's like mom ants,
Moments.
but moments. Yeah.
Moments. Moments. That makes sense. All right.
That's where I grew up. I
And
went
so
to
how big
school.
what'd you say?
That's where I grew up and I went to school.
Did you go through first through 12th grades there?
Yeah, because we lived in a town like right over, but I want to say we were in Momence when I was like first or second grade. We were in Illinois, but we just moved to a
How
house
big
instead of
is
a trailer.
yeah? How big is Moments? How many people?
Like 3,000. There was like 100 people in my graduating class.
Oh man. What did you do in school? What crowd did you hang out with?
I was not popular. I was talking to my friend about this today. I was the one that was picked
Yeah.
last, even though I was really good at sports. It's just because, popularity.
Yeah.
I wasn't a
So
nerd or
did
nothing. I just wasn't very out there. I don't know. I hung
did you
out
play
with,
sports?
yes, softball. I played softball for all of grade school and then some of high school, and I loved it. I was a really good catcher. Um, but then they took me and stuck me in the outfield one year, and I kind of lost because it's hard to sit. I mean, catcher from.
Yeah.
It's hard to sit there, but
Yeah. But if you catch her, you got a good arm. I mean, you got to throw people out. You're a catcher,
yeah, you got to throw it to
and
second
you're
base.
staying busy. A lot of times the catcher's making calls to people and stuff. They'll make calling the plays and positions. But yeah, the
I miss
catcher's an
it.
important position.
My daughter plays softball now, so it's fun, watching her enjoy the sport that I was into.
And she's 7. That's a 7-year-old.
Hmm.
What's her
Some
name?
of some of them still play in the dirt and stuff. So, Ariana, Ariana,
Yeah, Ariana Podgorski.
Walker. I'm not married, but
Ar,
I should be. Me and
Ar,
her father have been together for over 11 years. We just haven't made it official on paper.
well, I think that's a sign of the times. I think a lot of people, a lot of the younger generations doing that. Um, what's your son's name?
Jeremiah, and he is named after the song "Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog" because
Ah,
his
all right.
uh,
Well, that's
dad
cool.
used
Well,
to.
what's what's Stacy named after?
I don't know. Enough. I think she just liked the
Just like
name.
Stacy.
Yeah.
Well, the hell, she's named after you.
Who?
Did she? Let's see. Tell me your daughter's name again.
Ariana.
Ariana. That's what it is. What is she? Ariana named after?
I just really wanted a daughter named Ariana. I like predicted her before she was even born, like literally 8 years before.
Well, that's cool. All right. After high school, what did you do?
I think I took a year off and then I went to massage therapy college. It wasn't really college. The college doesn't even exist anymore. When I went, it was Olympia College, and then it changed to Everest, and then like Everest doesn't exist anymore. But yeah, I did massage therapy for it was a 9-month course.
Did you ever work in the field? Did you become a masseuse?
I couldn't because in 2006 I got into a really bad car accident. My massage table was in the back seat of the car. All I did was hit the gravel on the side of the road. There was nobody else involved. It was just me. I hit the gravel and I overcorrected. Turned and lost control, hit the ditch. That massage table like hit me because my headrest was bent and I was out. I don't remember like flipping, but I flipped. Luckily, I landed right side up, but the car was so smushed that they had to use the jaws of life to cut me out. I fractured 2 vertebrae in my neck and 3 in my upper back. I had to wear this big brace all around my body, and it added, they screwed on a neck brace to it as well, and I had to wear that for a couple months. And I screwed up this side of my face really bad. It was a big sore, and all I have is a tiny little teardrop scar. You probably can't see it with all the makeup I have caked on, but I mean, really, considering what happened, and there was no airbags in this car. I like little tiny sports cars, stick shift, and it had,
Yeah.
instead of the factory wheel, it had like a fancy wheel in it. So there was no airbags. Like, I wore my seatbelt. It could have been way worse, but yeah.
Yeah.
So that kind of put a damper on any plans that I could have had at being a masseuse, because like you're supposed to be healing other people's backs, and mine like was broken. So fractured, not
Did they
broken.
have you in? Did they have you in a halo?
Thank goodness, no. My mom, when she came to the hospital after it happened, she was so scared that that was going to happen because they like screw stuff into your head. I think luckily
Yeah.
because I did screw up my back, they were able to just like attach that neck brace to the body brace instead of having to screw it onto my head. Uh, but
How long
yeah,
did you have to wear that apparatus?
it was a couple months. I can't remember, but it was awful because I had to have help, and then I couldn't work. I didn't have insurance. I was working at a pizza place. I was 20 years old. So I was getting bills and, you know, lots of bills from the jaws of life to all the doctors who seen me and the hospital bill. And I didn't have a job. It was a hard time, in my life, but I don't want to be like, yay, it happened. But also if it didn't happen, I might be doing masseuse stuff instead of where I am now, which I'm happy where I am now. So stuff happens to get you where you are, even the crappy stuff.
That's right. That's all part of the path we take to get to where we are.
Yeah.
Now, did they fuse your neck and back? Did they do any fusions in there?
Luckily, because it was fractured and not broken, and because I was so young, because the doctor kept saying that, he's like, it's a good thing you're young. I healed up pretty good. I haven't really had very much issues with it. I mean, I get sore, of course, especially in the wintertime, because you're tensing all the time. Um, but it doesn't bother me. It really could have been worse. That's what I just keep telling myself. As crazy and as hard as a time as it was, it really could have been way worse.
Absolutely. What kind of car were you driving?
An Acura Integra. It was a tiny little
Acura
Acura
Integra.
Integra, a red.
What do you drive now? Red.
I don't even want to talk about vehicles right now because I can't seem to keep a reliable vehicle, and I'm like flopping around between vehicles. I've been relying on my neighbors and my friends to help me pick up my daughter from school, and yeah, stress. And it's kind of crazy that I got certified in the middle of all that stress. It's
So
like,
when did you get certified? When did you pass? When did you pass your certification?
the end of March. My assessment was on the ninth. No, it got moved because my I had a student. My student didn't couldn't make it, and so it had to get postponed. But it was the end of May, 3/25, I think is what it says on my
End of March.
certificate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's
March.
awesome. Congratulations.
Thanks. It's
Do
kind
you
of
plan to,
surreal.
do you plan to teach?
I
Do you
actually
plan to
do.
teach?
I do teach. I had a class this morning. My neighbor who helped me out a lot with my car issues, they own a jujitsu school gym place in town called Guardian. And I teach there every Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. And I've been doing that since October. That's how I got a lot of my teaching hours. That and because of Travis and Shamrock Fitness too. He's amazing.
Are they? Well, that's what everybody says. He's amazing. Everybody seems to like Travis. I don't really know him that well. I mean, I don't know him. I only know him through, through the post, people's post and stuff.
It's because of the online classes. I mean, you see me in Mike Turnpennies all the time. We did
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
way back when, and
Yeah.
I did all of them. I literally tried. I think literally all of them. Maybe I missed one or two here or there, but I definitely took advantage of the free online instructor workouts. And that also, I think, um, definitely for sure, I don't think, I know that contributed a lot to my success because they inspired me. I learned from them. They helped me show up and, you know, do the workouts. So, yeah, I definitely wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all of them. And I wouldn't be as good as of an instructor if it wasn't for all of them. So, big shout out to them. All of them.
That's cool.
I mean, all of them.
Well, all right, we got you. We got you up to the wreck, and the wreck put you out of commission for a while. And
Yeah,
then
couldn't
what
do massage
happened when
therapy
you?
for that.
Yeah, what did you do after that?
I just started working at a bank. I became a bank teller and a bartender, and I did that for like 8 years. But that's how I met. Well, I met Ryan at the pizza place that I worked at before my accident, and then we didn't talk to each other for a while. But then he came into the bar like 4 years later, and did the whole
What was the
sly put your number in my phone thing,
what
and that's all she wrote.
what bar was it? That's it. That was it.
Um, Route 50 North in Manteno,
So what kind of bar was it?
Illinois.
It,
They had
it was a what?
two pool tables. I mean, they had two pool tables in there, but it was just a regular old, town bar. Nothing spectacular, nothing. But yeah, I worked there for like 7 years, and then I got pregnant and left there and went to the pool hall down the road and bartended there for a little while. But then after I had kids, I did bartend for a short period after Ari, but after Jeremiah is when I stopped working and became a stay-at-home mom, which is what I am now,
I
and an
always heard
instructor.
like a bar. Yeah, and a DD. You're a DDPY instructor. I always heard that bartenders are, they're kind of like therapists. They listen to everybody's stories. They hear everything.
Even
Yeah.
the bank job, I did that too. Like, I think any time you're in the public, you know, and especially if you've got that kind of personality where people feel comfortable, to share. And I don't know, I think I got that kind of personality. I was decent at it. I was there for a really long time.
So, can you make any drink? Can anybody, can name any drink and have you make it?
Sometimes, yes. But sometimes I had to use old Google, but I learned how to make a Manhattan because I had a customer who regularly came in that, needed a Manhattan. But there are a lot of crazy mixtures of drinks out there and people just keep making more and more.
Yeah. What do you drink?
I don't really drink a whole lot, but if I do, it's usually, I don't know if you can hear my kids screaming, I'm sorry. Uh, rum. I like rum. Rum is probably my alcohol of choice. Angry Orchard is my beer of choice, and Fireball is my shot of choice.
Ah. Well, a bartender, you know what everybody drinks. So, were there
Yep.
people that just like hang out there every day, all day?
Yes, there were regulars, and some of them would, leave and come back, and there were other bars in Mantino too, so they would go to all the bars, bar hopping, and it was always the same people.
That's funny. That's funny. All right. So then you meet Ryan, right?
Yep.
And then he comes back into your life. What made you move to Tennessee?
It was so random because, like, when we first got together, we would talk about, moving eventually one day, and we thought like Arizona, or Florida, I want to say is another one we thought of, possibly Texas. My sister lives in Texas.
Oh yeah,
Um,
where does she live?
Godly. It's
Godly. I've
by,
seen that.
is it by Fort Worth? I think it's by Fort Worth. I don't know. I've never been, which is terrible.
I've
I need to go visit my sister.
I've seen it. I remember seeing it, but I can't place it though.
She loves it there. She's trying to make me move down there. But so Tennessee was just random. It was right after I had my son. He was like a few months old. We went to Panama City Beach, Florida, for a vacation with him and us and his parents, and we drove through. We drove through Indiana. I think Indiana was also on the list. We drove through Indiana, and then we drove through Tennessee, and Tennessee just like took our breath away. Like, just driving through it, we were like, "This is a beautiful state." And literally on the beach, walking the beach in Panama City Beach, we were like, is Tennessee on the table? And it was. And luckily, the company that Ryan works for, Geodis, had, it's a logistics company. They're warehouses. They, store and distribute for different people. Like in Illinois, it was Post cereal, and here, he's in Starbucks. But they had the Starbucks account here, and they had a position available. He signed up, and lots of back and forth at first. It was, moving is stressful, but moving states is really stressful, especially if you don't know anybody. That was another obstacle to overcome, was coming to a place where I don't have any friends or family. Luckily, my mom, though, lives in Kentucky, which is, it's just right on the border. She's like 2 hours away. So she would come every once in a while and watch the kids so we could get out. But yeah, Tennessee was
Well,
a
that's so
super random occurrence.
y'all just decided to move to Tennessee, pick up and go to Tennessee, huh?
Yep. Well, we were looking to buy a house. That's kind of what started it. Because we were
Yeah.
renting. up until that point, we were renting a house from my friend that I worked with at the bank. And we wanted to own because we had kids. We started a family. We want to own our own house. But Illinois, the taxes are insane. And so we were going to move somewhere where the taxes weren't so high. And luckily, beautiful Tennessee doesn't have a state tax, and the market is rising. But we came in like right at a good time, because right now it's kind of crazy if you want to come move to Tennessee. It's
It's
expensive.
crazy. I know it's crazy around here. It's crazy here in Waxahachie. But let's see. So you moved to Tennessee, and your husband starts working for the warehouse company, the logistics company. Did you get a job in Tennessee, or did you just stay home with the kids?
Stayed home with the kids. And now that they're going to school, because my daughter's been in school, she's in first grade right now, but my son hasn't started yet. He's going to start in August. And now is the time that, we were talking, I would be looking for a job, because to pay for daycare anymore.
So you come back. So you said your son was a few months old when y'all moved to Tennessee, and
Hmm.
you started picking up the DDP yoga again.
Yeah, he
Let's
was
see.
about a
So that
year
would have been
old,
5 years ago.
like
You said your
2017,
son's
I
5.
think.
Yeah. Yeah,
2018,
that's right.
2017, 2018.
That's about the time that I started. Was well, I mean, I started DDPY in January of 18, but I started trying to lose weight in November of 17. So, but yeah, well, did so you've been a stay-at-home mom. How was your health prior to starting the DDP yoga and all that?
Um, Pretty not okay. Especially, I'm pretty sure I've had anxiety my whole life, but I didn't like figure it out until I had kids, because it like got really bad. Um, and the doctor, they prescribed me medicine, but I got anxiety about taking anxiety medications. Um, but because of that anxiety, and all, just the stress of motherhood and all that, I was not focusing on my health at all. I was not working out. I was not eating, mindfully. Um, so I was always inflamed and always feeling sorry for myself. It was like December 2018. I decided, it was right before the Positively Unstoppable Challenge came out. I decided to start a journal. And in that journal, I wrote the most self deprecating, negative, awful stuff. And at the end of it, I wrote, um, nothing I do is good enough. I'm not good enough. And I knew how I felt. So I literally turned the page over and wrote really big, I am good enough, because like that was literally a page turner for me in my journey of eventually getting here, like focusing on my mental health. And it was DDP who said in the Positively Unstoppable Challenge, like advertisement, I guess, he said it's not just about body transformation, it's about mental transformation. And I ain't never heard nobody say that before. Every time I ever wanted to work out or go to the gym or do any of that stuff fitness related, it was body transformation, change the way you look, lose weight, that's it. But DDP said it's about a mental transformation, and that's what it was, the catalyst basically that changed my journey from, you know, being so body centered to mental health, because being body centric like that, like caring about my weight loss and stuff, affects my mental health negatively. Because nothing is good enough, and I feel like that's how we are marketed as people. Even early on in life, you're told you're not good enough. They put you in competitions. Like, these kids are ruthless in Easter egg hunts. Have you ever been to an Easter egg hunt? And you see the kid who is pushing people over to get all the eggs, and then you see the other kid who is super shy and not really going after the eggs. And we're so individual, and I feel like society puts us in these boxes and labels and stereotypes. And if you don't fit in that box, if you don't fit in a box, then you don't feel good enough. And that's just not okay with me anymore. I'm done with not feeling good enough. I turn that page, and I feel like in the last 3 years, that's all I've been focusing on, is making myself believe that I'm good enough, and that, just positive stuff. I've been changing my truths, because what your truths are is what makes you who you are. Do you believe that you're not good enough? Do you believe that you are gross and, out of shape? And, if you believe these things, then you become them. But when I started posting, I would put, like, I'm a badass. I would write these things down in my posts. I didn't believe them at the time fully. I was trying to train myself to believe it. The whole fake it till you make it. Some people will tell you that that's bad advice, but that worked for me. I pretended to love myself until I actually loved myself.
And that's why I wanted to talk to you. That's why I really think that your DDP journey needs to be heard by people.
Thank you.
I don't want to miss this thought. The older you get, if you have a thought, you better write it down.
I
Okay.
actually wrote down some stuff too, so.
Good. All right. But I can tell you, I followed you. I don't know how we got connected, but I follow you on Instagram and different things. And, I always love your posts. But there was a lady that was in my Transform with Vance group, and she was about loving herself. And I told her she needed to follow you, and she
I did. I
loved
got her follow.
so you know who I'm talking about then. Yeah,
Yeah.
and she's a very outgoing super person, but she's got the same mantras as you've got, and I thought y'all were good to be connected. But that's kind of why I wanted to talk to you, because it's not always about body transformations. It's more than that. It's it's a lifestyle change and believing in yourself. And so I think your transformations as important as anybody's. The mental side of it. And so you continue to post and be open and vulnerable and have effect on people. And I think that needs to be heard as much as any weight loss story needs to be heard. So that's why I wanted to talk to you
Thank
today,
you.
was about your transformation. So,
Yeah, and it's about growth for me, and the fact that I'm an instructor now. Like, even me, somebody who acts like, I love myself all the time. It's impossible to love yourself all the time. Like, you just have to give yourself that, like, okay, it's happening. Self-awareness. There's so many things that you have to balance and be aware of, and, let go of, um, to grow. And to be an instructor shows me myself that I've literally grown, because I'm shy usually, introverted, not very loud, and I think the world kind of made me that way because
Yeah.
I'm a Leo, and Leos are supposed to be aggressive and leaders, and I never felt that. I never felt connected to my what I'm supposed to be. But like now, I feel like it's been in there that whole time, in this cage, in this box, and I'm finally like just fucking the box. Sorry, excuse my language.
No,
And,
no.
believing in my truth and knowing that, what I know works for me and it won't work for everybody else. Here we go back to the individuality of, each person is different. So what works for me won't work for somebody else. That's why I kind of have a weird relationship with the whole, if I can do it, you can do it motivational phrase, because that's not true. Everybody is different, not just physically and like genetics and stuff, but also like where you live, um, how you grew up, what you believe. Like, there's so many different factors that come into play that, it's impossible. But
Well, take me through the journey, the steps, what you had to do to get from that negative self image to
it was
the brave, bold, love yourself person you are today.
it was that journal is what started it. I kept writing in that journal. I wouldn't do it every day, um, but whenever I felt the need, I spent a lot of time outside. Luckily, this house, I think, also had a big part to do with it. It's got a lot of space, and also like outdoors. I'm surrounded by trees and nature, and deer come in my backyard and stuff, and I connect, um, with nature. But the biggest thing was definitely the Ddpy, like community, joining all those online workouts and stuff. Um, I had to go outside of my comfort zone, because when I first started doing DDPY, I didn't want to do it in front of Ryan. I wanted to do it in the comfort of my home. Nobody sees me, nothing at all. And then the Facebook Lives was cool because they couldn't see you, but then they started doing Zooms. So then I had to be comfortable with turning my camera on. So there's been a
Right.
lot of little steps to coming out of that comfort zone. Another thing, Ben Carson is he was my mentor also, because he was a huge part of my journey. One of the classes I used to take
I'm
all the time, Burning and Earning with Ben.
I'm gonna click over here on my notes a minute because I keep a list of people I need to interview, and I forgot I didn't have Ben Carson on there. I don't even
Mm,
know if I've got
he's a
Travis on there. Let's see. My list keeps growing.
growing.
Let's
I'm
see.
sure it does.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Ben Carson, Travis McAfee. How do you spell McAfee? Do you know?
It's
Mac
Mahaffey. M A H
M
A
A
Mahaf
F F F F A
and then
for
FFEY.
EY.
Yeah,
That's good. Yeah, I can figure that out. Let's see. But
these earbuds do not listen.
um, the I mean, my like I said, Ben, I met him at the um, at
PC.
that Yeah, I met him at the PC when they did the I can't think of the name, where they brought all the success
Transformation
stories and
Summit.
the teachers. Yeah, the summit, and met him at the summit. He was a hoot. He had a worse accent than I do, so we
Yes,
connected.
I loved his accent.
Yeah,
That was part of
yeah,
why I showed up to his classes all the time.
if you put us in a room of people, he and I will get together sooner or later because we're the only two that talk that way. So so we
He
have a
was
bond.
he was one of the first people who, like, truly, I felt and knew believed in me. He went as far as nominating me to be on the DDP radio with Crystal, Stewart, and Mike. And that was probably the first real band aid of, oh my God, I have to, you know, talk to people and be vulnerable and not be shy. And it's okay to be shy. Like, my thing is, do it scared, because fear stopped me. I don't know how much in the before times, but since DDPY, that was like my first fear, that I was like, I'm going to say yes to this, even though my brain was like, no, 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 no.
Yeah,
And I did it, and I was nervous, but I did it, and that was the real first, like, out of my comfort zone thing that I did. And it just kept, I kept putting more and more out there, and more people were like resonating, and like reaching out to me. And um, there was a time, you got to remind yourself that it's for me. Because once people start like resonating and reaching out and, seeing who you are, it's like, oh, now I feel kind of like obligated to keep this sharing going. And it becomes, instead of something you enjoy, it becomes a job. And so I had to take a little step back, like 2021, I think. I stopped posting every day, because it was like an everyday.
yeah,
It was an
yeah.
everyday thing, but it got me through the pandemic. So I am not hating on posting every day at
No.
all. But
Now
it's definitely good to have that accountability.
yeah, I agree. I mean, it has been such a big. And I'll go ahead and ask you this question now. I mean, I ask everybody this because social media has been such a big part of my journey. How what effect, if any, has social media had on your transformation and your journey?
Oh, I mean, it's been huge. I went from, hardly posting anything at all to, putting a lot of stuff out there. Um, and then meeting, a bunch of internet friends as a stay-at-home mom, and being in a state where I don't know anybody, like, that was huge for me. It gave me the community and the connection that I needed, because we all need that. Humans need that.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, that definitely, social media played a big part in my journey, because I made those connections and was able to do the online workouts. Like, that's how I did so well during the pandemic, was because of social media. They literally, my workouts were on social media.
Yeah. Now, you said that you participated in both of the first two positively unstoppable challenge. What did you do to lose the weight, and what workouts did you do, and that kind of stuff? What did tell us a little bit about your mindset during those two competitions?
for sure. 2019, again, I didn't have any technology. It was just the DVDs. No, I didn't even have a yoga mat. So um, I started off with energy again, and then stayed pretty much on the first two discs for most of it. Um, I remember the day I did double black diamond for the first time. Like I was even doing
Ooh,
diamond
shit.
cutter, and the double black diamond was like the scary, like, oh my gosh, I don't even want to try it. It's gonna be embarrassing. Um, but yeah, that was in 2019. So like in 2019, I kind of climbed up the ladder of the DVDs, and I did harder, longer workouts. So when 2020 came, uh, I decided to get the app like right away. Um, but I did like the 30 free because I got the Positively Unstoppable book, and it had in the end of it one part of it, it has a code or a website that you go to and you get 30 days for free. And so I signed up for that. Um, and then when that expires, then it's like $8.99 a month. And in 2020, for Mother's Day, I won they did a Mother's Day contest where you win a year subscription of the app. And
Wow.
so I had a free year
Wow.
until last year. So that was cool. Um, it was like stuff just kept happening. Stuff was aligning and it just kept going. And so I kept going. But um, yeah, 2020 was about making all those connections. It didn't start out that way, it just started out with me doing the app workouts the app workouts and posting on the internet. But then once the online classes started, that's when the connections started being made. And um, I started getting way more involved in the community, and, people were inspiring me, and surprisingly to me, I was inspiring other people. And yeah, that's kind of how the timeline went. It starts with DVDs, no mat, no heart rate monitor, and moves up to online classes, or to the app, and then online classes, and then to where I am today, which is an instructor.
You know, yeah, that's right. Well, the pinnacle when you've been the complete indoctrination is when you get a DDP yoga tattoo. That's when you
I
really know you've completely integrated in.
I have zero tattoos.
Oh, well,
Zero.
that's crazy. All right, I figured with your
Mm.
I would have bet money against that. I would have bet money that you had tattoos. With your
Nope.
flower mama image yeah, I would have
If
bet
I
money.
wanted
Money.
tattoo, I wanted to get like flowers, sunflowers, and flowers and stuff on my shoulder. It just never happened. I never had the extra funds
Uh,
or um, availability.
does Ryan have any tattoos?
Yeah, he's got a couple. His name is Ryan, Ryne, not like Ryan,
Oh,
which gets
Ryan.
confused a
Oh,
lot.
okay. I'm sorry.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, Ryan.
No, it's okay. He's used to it.
Yeah,
But it sounds
yeah,
like Rhino, so they call him Rhino, and he has a rhino on his leg and a little armband
yeah.
too.
Rhino.
Rhino.
Is he a big
Yeah,
guy? Is he a big guy? I hope with a name like
he's
with a nickname like
tall.
Rhino. I hope he's a big guy. Yeah.
He's tall.
Uh,
Yeah, like 6'1", I think, and I'm only
what do
like
they
five
call
four.
that?
So
That character, the unstoppable force. I got a friend I call that. Shit, I can't think of the
uh,
name of it. That comic book character, Juggernaut. Juggernaut. Once he gets going, nothing can
yeah.
stop him. So the um. So tell me, wait. Hey, can we take a restroom break a minute? Let me run to the restroom.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know
Yes.
how to
Yes. Yes.
stop recording, but let me run to the restroom and then I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
Ready.
Hey, I want to know what your thought process was when you first started posting your pictures. Kind of scary pictures on the internet. What? Because I can tell you, I was scared shitless when I posted the one where I'm in my underwear at 475. I
You
didn't know what
know,
was going to happen. Mary thought I was going to get fired.
yeah, I mean, you never know. Um,
Yeah.
my, I was more scared, not so much about putting myself out there as I was about putting myself out there, scared how people were going to react to how I looked. It was more about me putting
Yeah.
myself out there because I was afraid I was going to fail again. Because I've tried, fitness stuff in the past. I went to the gym. I paid for a personal trainer at one point in time. And I went and, I did the things. I got stronger, but I didn't lose weight. And, so that went, because that was back
Yeah.
before, I got smart. Um, but, um, man, where was I going?
Yeah. Well, no, it's just that you were scared of failing when you were putting
Oh, because
yourself
I've
out.
tried.
You
Yes,
know,
I've
you know,
tried so many times.
yeah. And I think it's that accountability because once everybody knows what you're trying to do, then it's a lot scarier if you quit. Then everybody knows you quit. Everybody knows you failed,
Yeah.
and so it's it's just a scary thing when you start putting yourself out there.
Well, yeah, because of
Um,
judgment, we're all scared of being judged in multiple ways, personality wise, figure wise. Um, I feel, a lot of pressure now, especially as an instructor. And, the instructors are supposed to have a certain look. You're supposed to fit people in shape, is a certain look. And
mhm.
because I'm not actively shrinking, I feel like people look at me and are like, "You're failing. You're not doing it right. It's because you eat whatever, whatever." Like I'm constantly worried that people are just looking at me as a total failure because I'm not shrinking, and I have to like not let that stop me from doing it the way that I want to do it because I know in my truth in my heart that um, shrinking and focusing on shrinking doesn't help me. Um,
Well, now
and what's funny, I
I
want to talk
think
about weighing yourself because I know that you just put out a video, that you're going to change from how you weigh every weekly to now every monthly. I weigh myself every day. I weigh myself every
you weigh
day.
yourself every day. I tried that,
Every day.
and I didn't like that. I didn't like that.
I put zero power, and it took a lot of time, but I put zero power into whatever that number says. The only thing that I want to gain from knowing, my weight every day is I can notice my patterns. I've noticed because I weigh myself every day that in the winter, I gain 10 to 15 pounds. So now when winter comes and I gain that weight, I'm not like freaking out, like, oh my God, uh, do all the things, to get rid of it.
Yeah.
I just know that that's how my body is. I've learned my patterns that way. But like I said, everybody is different, and that scale, unfortunately, holds a lot of power because of the way fitness and healthy, all the things, because it's so body centered. there's a lot of power in those numbers, and it takes a lot of mental strength to take that power away.
And that's where I am right now, is trying to not give that scale any power. I mean, it's had a hold on me for 4 years. You know that every week I had to go in there and weigh and post it, good or bad. I mean, even on when I knew it was going to be bad, I
Yeah,
did it and posted it anyway. You know, and then I'd be depressed that day or whatever, or you know, I'd have
it
to, a lot of
affects
everybody
you.
commenting, and you know, it's just when the first time when I almost got to this part, the first time I weighed, which was a couple of weeks ago, I said I'm going to take a page out of Stacy. I said Podgorski's page book. Did you see that one?
I missed
And I
it.
gave you, yeah, I gave you a shout out. I said I'm going to quit letting this scale have all this power, and then. And then I think the next time, it might have been, I don't know, it was within the last 3 or 4 weeks I said that, but I'm trying to get into your mindset and get to where you are today, and
My
you know,
my advice,
go
if you
ahead,
want it, you don't have to take it. Um,
yeah,
with the power comes because you get excited when it goes down.
yeah,
You can't get excited when it goes down, because if you do, you're going to get upset when it goes up. Like with one reaction, there's another reaction, all that stuff. So you have to not be like excited about it going down. And sometimes, like, we shouldn't be excited about it going down, like when we're sick, and your body is literally
yeah,
fighting itself, and that's why you're losing weight. But, we live in a society that any weight loss is to be celebrated. So, but take the power
well,
away
no,
from it completely. You can't just take the power away from the negative side. You can't just be like, oh, I gained weight, I don't care. And then when you lose weight, be like, yes, because you're given that power. You're given the power of how you feel to that scale.
I think that's huge.
Either
I
way.
think that's great advice. Yeah, I mean, yeah, because you're right. If I get excited about losing weight, and then that's and just a way of giving that scale power. Uh, you
Over your
know,
emotions,
you know what? Yeah,
how you
yeah.
feel.
What got me a couple of weeks ago was I thought I'd really put in a good week. I thought, and I went back to the old diets, and I thought I'd really put in a good week, and I had this expectation of a big drop, and I lost a pound, but I was expecting, I wanted to see something, and
Yes.
it depressed. I mean, I was just down that whole day, and I ended up just started eating bad, and I ate bad for four
And it's an
days, and
expectation that you put on yourself. So you just need
yes,
to take
yes. I
that
mean,
expectation
I should have been
and
happy
throw it
with
in
the
the trash.
pound, but I had that expectation that it was going to be big, and I wanted to hear a good number, and and so
Yeah.
I'm with you. I don't want to give the scale that much power over me, and so I've also got to take the power out of the weight loss too. I think that's great, excellent advice. So thank you.
Do not do what I do. Like, I don't want anybody to feel like my way is the way,
Hmm.
but also when I see people who do struggle um like that, I do feel like, kind of like, come to the dark side. come, come over here. It's
Yeah.
safe. We're happy and free and peaceful and liberated because, you just drop it. You don't have to worry about it. It's mostly about how you feel, and that's what it should be. Because my focus is not like what I look like or how healthy I look, because healthy is not a look. Um, my thing is, like, when I get old, when I get my mom's age, I want to be able to function. I want to be able to bend over and pick myself up off the ground without help. Like all the little things that taking care of my body in this way will help me in the long run. You know, it's not really about like holding back the hands of time. I just want to like make the most of my time.
I mean, I think being happy mentally with yourself is a huge way of making you happy with the time that you've got. Um, you drop
And a
those
lot of people think
those.
that the weight loss is going to bring them that happiness because that's what we're sold. We're sold that ideal, the ideal look, the ideal weight, the ideal whatever. Um, and then even the people who do get there, they'll tell you that it's not all cupcakes and rainbows. Life still sucks.
Yeah, that's right. Life,
You're
that's the Buddhist
chasing.
principle. Yeah, life is still suffering. It's still that's just part. That's what life is. It's just how we react to it, how we let it affect us is determines the quality of our life. I say that how we react to the suffering um,
And
determines
bounce
the
back from
quality
it,
of our life. Yeah,
how
and
you get back
but
up.
you had said earlier that there's a couple of things. One thing I want to say before I forget is that you said you keep saying, or you said it a couple of times. Now that I'm an instructor, I'm worried that people are going to think I should look a certain way or do a certain thing or be different, and I think that contingency is out there. But if anybody just looks at what you're doing, I mean, looks at if they pay attention to what you're posting, I mean, it's amazing the stuff you do. You do any of the workouts, you do any of the poses, you do any. I mean, you do everything. So it's just if they're not paying attention to you if they think that way. So
Yeah, and I know that hopefully I believe that I'm not the, only one who needs, that kind of motivation. Because really, I'm just trying to be the inspiration that I needed, back in the day. Because I'm different than a lot of people. A lot of people in the community have always been big. They're like, I grew up big. I've always been big. Me, I was not big, but I was not small. I was kind of like in the middle, mid-size. But I was small compared to what I am now, and having to look back and see like where I was. And, it's not just comparing yourself to other people, it's also comparing yourself to your past self. Um, that's also detrimental. It's also the thief of joy.
yeah,
Comparison, no matter how you do it, is the thief of joy. Um, but yeah, I didn't have that growing up. But I hated myself. I was small in kind of like an acceptable in the acceptable box, but I didn't feel like it. I hated myself for a long time. It was around seventh grade when I started, like getting a little bit bigger, and people started making comments about, oh, you're getting fat, and that stuck with
yeah.
me. And my mom also, she struggles with her weight and always has. So that's just like in my blood. Struggle with weight issues. I've watched her gain and lose 100 pounds like 3 or 4 times. Um, and she always had really bad body image issues and, low self esteem. And watching her and just seeing it in society, in the movies, there was no, all the Disney princesses all look the same.
Yeah.
um, we're, just thrown into this messaging, and it's really hard to not get sucked into it. Even now, after all my growth, I still sometimes, like I said, feel pressure to focus on the weight loss because I'm an instructor and because, I'm in the fitness community and that's what you do. Like, you hardly see anybody that doesn't want to lose weight. Even people who probably don't need to lose weight want to lose weight. And that was another thing that kind of started my body positivity journey, was seeing people who did fit in the acceptable box, who hated themselves, constantly self-deprecating. And it's like, if I get to that point, I'm still going to be unhappy. So what is the point of even trying to
Yeah.
get there if when I get there I'm still going to hate on myself?
No,
So I was
I
just like,
agree.
screw it,
I
I'll
agree
just love myself now.
100%. Yeah. Well, I've gotten to 219 twice, and it takes quite an effort for me to get to 219. And I can tell you, when I was there, every time I saw myself, I thought I was fat, still
Still too
overweight,
big.
but it's still too big, and still, but now when I go back and look at those pictures, I say, man, I wish I could get back to those.
Please, can I?
Yeah, and get it. Hell, I'll take 250, 230.
And that's
So
that's
it's
that's the thing. It's never good enough. It's
that's
never
right.
good enough. I also hate the phrase, and it's said so much, is I'm not where I want to be. Because you are literally taking all the progress, everything that you have done, and just like throwing it in the trash. You're just like, I'm not happy with where I am. And that's like the worst place to be, because you're always going to be chasing that. It's never going to be good enough. Um, but I feel like it's normalized because you see it, a lot of times, especially people just starting out. You don't want to post the pictures. You're starting off just being very self-deprecating, and instead of people being like, stop talking about yourself like that, people resonate because everybody has that negative voice in their head telling all the bad things about yourself. And so instead of telling people like, stop being so mean to yourself, we're just like, oh, you've got this, don't worry about it, keep going. And it's, instead of focusing on the problem of people hating themselves and being self-deprecating, we're just like, try to fix it with this weight loss pill or potion or whatever. And it's just a band-aid. It don't last. And that's proof from all the
And,
people who do reach their goals and they're still struggling.
and it's hard to it's hard to hold that level of exercise and diet long term. It really is.
Long
And
term, life happens. Life happens.
yeah.
It's
Hmm.
unrelentless and it happens. And then you get
Yeah, it's
stuck in
going to
that
happen.
spiral of, oh, I failed, and, now I have to start all over again. And our bodies, actually, the reason why, like, usually diets don't work 95% of the time, and usually people gain weight and gain more back, is because our bodies, when you start losing weight, we have hormones and stuff, and our bodies are like, what's going on? Are we in a famine? Is there no food? Why are we getting rid of this weight? Our body wants to hold on to that stuff. It wants to store the energy. And that's why plateaus happen. And that's why it's so hard, because our bodies are literally fighting against us. They're like, no, I don't want you
Yeah.
to die of starvation, so I'm going to hold on to these energy stores. So it's a
You know,
hard battle to face.
when my story went viral that month of January of 19, I guess it was something like that. It went viral right after Christmas, and I was one of Men's Health did a transformation story each day of the month of January. Their online web magazine, and I
Hmm.
was like January 24th. So I was Mr. January 24th, transformation of the year for Men's Health. But the reason I say that is down at the bottom. I mean, in the part where they were telling my journey, then they referenced um, some of the biggest losers and how the when they followed the biggest losers after the show, most of them, if not all of them, gained their weight
Gained.
back because the body fights back. I mean, it takes more. It takes less food and more exercise to maintain where they get to because the body's fighting back. And I always was kind
Hmm.
of offended. I said, "Well, hell, you had 30 other motherfuckers to put that story on. Why did you have to jinx me and put it in my story? You did have to. There's 31. There's 31 transformations. Why did you could have put it in one of the other
Pick
30?
yours.
Yeah.
uh,
Instead, they jinx me with it. Um,
hey, it's life. Literally, it's life. Our bodies are meant to change, and it's so silly that we are literally fighting nature sometimes.
it's crazy. I want to know how you got from the weight loss mindset and self-deprecating mindset to the love where you are mindset.
A lot of it had to do with the accounts that I follow. Um, when I was in the Positively Unstoppable Challenge of 2019, I was talking about it kind of, but still, very deep entrenched in the diet culture talk. But there was somebody who, like, I can't remember her name, but she was like, you should check out the bird's papaya. And she was on Instagram, so I looked her up. And her actual name is Sarah. But she's actually a kind of a smaller, thinner woman, but she has, from giving birth, a lot of loose skin and stretch marks and stuff. And she was putting herself out there. Um, the first post that I seen was her in alligator crocodile forearms,
Yeah,
with just a sports bra on, and her belly was hanging. And normally people don't post those types of pictures. And
yeah,
that was the first time that I seen beauty in flaws, and seeing the beauty in other people's flaws helped me see beauty in my own. So I just kept, like, it went from birth papaya to there's Kenzie Brenna. I mean, I just kept like snowballing all these accounts of people who are happy
no,
with,
I want
you
you. To,
know,
I want you. I want you to state them. I want you, in case to help someone else that might listen to this. Just in case 4 or 5 people listen to this thing. I want, if one of them are interested in following these quotes, tell them where their accounts are.
definitely the bird's papaya, and she's on Facebook and Instagram. And honestly, if you just follow one of them, you will end up down a rabbit hole of finding more and more and more. She's based in Canada. There's some in the UK that I follow. Um, they're everywhere, and it's really a breath of fresh air, to just see people owning who they are to the fullest extent and not being afraid to just put it all out there. Scars and bumps and all of it, and a lot of the stuff that, even not just the pictures, but the captions that they put, is it's very inspirational to me, and it has a lot to do with how I post. I get a lot of inspiration through all the accounts that I follow and stuff, but definitely seeing beauty in others helped me see it in myself. So, like, without those people being, and it shouldn't be brave. It shouldn't be brave to just show up as who you are. Excuse me. But it is. And they were brave enough to do it, and it helped me be brave. So,
I love
a
some of
lot
your
of
stuff.
unlearning, a lot of unlearning old ways, old ways of thinking.
Now, I'm just curious. Shit, I don't know, but I went to this therapist 4 times, but uh, I either fired her, I either quit or she fired me, one or the other. But she said that feelings we have not just don't come from this situation; they come from a lifetime of um, other things in our subconscious where
Influences.
would
Hmm.
acted that it's if we react to somebody doing us this way, it's because we've been treated
Of
that way over and
something that
over and
happened.
over again in our past. Yeah, and so she wanted to deal with what's in the subconscious, but the question is why why do you think you had such a negative image of yourself to begin with?
Oh, it was definitely, um, the society placing us in groups and categories, and just to the thinner equals better mindset is the biggest thing that set me into self hatred. Was just the focus of bodies, and especially, I know it happens in men too, and I see that and I respect that. But women, I mean, we're taught that we are ornaments. Like, they display our
Mm-hmm.
bodies to sell cheeseburgers and anything. Like sex sells, and so yeah, the just body image focus, and that's definitely got a lot to do with my self hatred and my self esteem issues. And like I said, I wasn't super popular in school. I did get bullied around like seventh, eighth grade, uh, physically slapped once. So that creates, traumas and whatnot. Uh, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that happen to us that dictate how we feel, how we react, and just how we move through life. I feel like sometimes it feels like a performance, like we have to perform, uh, to get love and attention that we all want and need as human beings. And it shouldn't be that way. Like, we should just be able to show up how we are and not have to perform and be accepted, you know,
Yeah.
without all the conditions and whatnot.
So
One love.
did one love? All right. Did did you ever get any type of therapy or any type of professional help, or you've done this all through the accounts and through your own self? I mean, and listen, if I ask you any question that is that you don't want to answer, I mean, this is supposed to be fun. This, and like I told, well, I may not. I can't remember who I told this. If you ask me to take anything out, if it causes you any heartburn whatsoever, I will take it out. I mean, I'm not here to embarrass anybody or play gotcha
No,
or anything like that. I'm just,
I'm loving
I
the
just,
deep.
yeah.
This is my type of
I'm just curious,
exchange.
Yeah. So
I
has
tried.
yeah.
I tried. I have always been on like the state insurance in Illinois and in Tennessee. And, I look on the
Yeah.
back of the card for the number to call to try to find myself a therapist. I did it in Illinois and I
Mm-hmm.
did it in Tennessee. Both times I got sent on like a wild goose chase, and I have anxiety about finding an appointment. Like making appointments, talking on the phone are two things that like give me anxiety. And
Yeah.
so once I couldn't, once it didn't happen, easily, I was like, I can't, nope, no thanks. I tried, but it didn't
Yeah.
work. I wish I was in therapy. I honestly think every single human being on this planet should be in therapy. I think it's nothing but helpful to dump your feelings and all the heavy shit on your brain and let it go to somebody. Like I feel like that's something that everybody could benefit from, and I should. But insurance and healthcare is not fun.
Well, no, I just, I'm in the middle of that. Um, I don't know what you call it, merry-go-round right now.
hmm
I wanted, I want to know if I've got a binge eating disorder because I diet and I binge, I diet and I binge, and I've done it forever, and I want to know, I'm trying to. This part of my journey for 4 years now is not only physical but mental, and 4.5 years, and you know, if there's a mental aspect that would make my life easier, I am 100% willing to give it a try. And so I've been searching for a therapist. And I called all the big eating disorder places in Dallas, and
hmm
and I got mixed reviews, but I didn't get any treatment. They were talking like inpatient stuff, and they said no, you need an individual therapy to start out with. So
mm
my health insurance at work offers 5, they called it EAP benefits and some kind of employee benefits free a year. And I said, okay, I'm going to take these 5 and free. And but none of the ones I had called take the EAP benefits. And so I called my insurance, and then they sent me, they told me the website to go to and a list of people. So I went through and I researched them all, and I finally picked out one, and I sent her an email, no response. And I finally just started calling them, and I found one that would take my EAP benefits. No, I didn't find any through the website. So finally I called the insurance, and I said, look, they offered a service
Help.
to find somebody. Yeah, and so about 2 weeks later, I get a call with a number. So I went to that lady, and that's the one that I went 4 times, and then she fired me. And well, I told her I was going to quit at the start of the meeting. I didn't like the way it was going, and so, but then she fired me before I could quit. And
And that's the hardest
but
thing. It's hard to find anybody that will take your stuff, and
yeah,
then it's hard to find somebody that you like because that's important too.
Yeah,
You can't just go to anybody and
absolutely.
assume that you're going to have that connection, because you have to have a connection with somebody in order to feel vulnerable and comfortable enough to dump.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm in limbo now. So my nutritionist said she's gonna try it. She's on my same. I go to a nutritionist that the county has. That I didn't know the county had their own nutritionist, so she's been trying to help me, and now she's trying to find me a recommendation in our insurance. So that's where I'm at on my mental health
Yeah. And see,
venture.
diet,
So I'm in
we
that.
haven't really talked about it, but um like I'm with you as far as whenever I diet, it makes me want food more. So I had to like not diet at all. I give myself what they call food freedom and intuitive eating, which sometimes helps me and sometimes doesn't. But no matter what happens, I'm just like, cool, this is how we're eating today. Um, and I feel like that's healthier for me because it helps my mental health, because the whole, you know, dieting is healthy, for certain people, especially if you have certain ailments, like certain people have to diet because their bodies reject, stuff. But I don't have any allergies or any restrictions or anything. It's just whenever I do tell myself, like, I can't have that or I can only have so much of this, then I'm going to go behind everybody's back and sneak it and hide the wrappers and hide the evidence and not put it in my fitness pal, and it's
Yeah.
so I just stopped. I just stopped. A lot of the body positivity accounts and stuff that I follow also are anti-diet accounts, and so they do like intuitive eating. A lot of places talk about the intuitive eating, which is just giving yourself that food freedom, like um, having the cake and not eating all of it. But again, every person is different, because if you talk to Justin Dobbins, he's the opposite. He is the complete opposite of me. He's like, I can't have that cake because if I have that cake, I'm going to eat the whole cake. And I'm like, if I don't have that cake and I tell myself I can't have that cake, I'm going to go buy myself a different cake and eat it in my car.
Yeah.
So everybody, it depends on how our brains are so complex and so, just different. And it depends on how all the things in your past, how you are as a person. And, but for me, I have to be able to eat whatever I want and not tell myself, like, ooh, that's bad. I can't have that.
Hey,
And that's
hey, do,
why
do
I
you
don't
know?
focus on weight loss, because if I focus on weight loss, I have to focus on diet, because diet is where weight loss comes from. And me and diet don't do well.
Hey, do you know who Brene Brown is?
Yes. I read my sister sent me one of her books, The Gift of Imperfections, I think is what The Gift of
Gifts of
Imperfection.
Imperfection. Yeah, yeah, that's right. That and I like the Daring Greatly. That's the first one I read of hers. But anyway, she's got. I love her. She's my hero, and I love her to death about being vulnerable and putting yourself out
Mhm.
there, and shame and all that stuff. But
Yes.
she's got HBO special that I hadn't watched yet. All of it. I just
Oh,
started it. Atlas of the Heart. Yeah. Do you have HBO? HBO
I
Max.
do. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah, it's a 4-part series. I don't know if they're all been released, but I've just started the first one. I don't know. I'm 20 minutes in or so, but she said something that I've been thinking about that I had never heard before. She said, "We are not thinking beings that feel. We are feeling beings that think." So most of what
Yeah. Huh?
we most of what we do is of our life is our emotions and feelings, and the thinking is on top of that. And so I've
Mm-hmm.
been trying to really think about that. Um, I don't. It's a revelation. I've always considered, you know, kind of the, everything is I do is rational and thought. It's more. It's
Emotion.
more. Yeah, I think if weight loss is a problem, I can figure it out. I just got to figure it out. And life is a problem. I just got to figure it out. I just got to. It's a math problem that I can fix.
Yeah.
And
You
if I
just got to
keep
keep
trying, I'm
trying.
gonna.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but if what we're doing is feelings, and I don't know. I'm leaning kind of toward yours some. You're the
Come to
other
the dark
path.
side.
Yeah, I'm coming to the dark side some, but
I
at
say the
least
dark side because
I
I feel like I'm in a minority. I feel like nobody
yeah.
really. I mean, it resonates with people because, we all deal with the negative issues and the shame. The shame is probably the worst and
Mm-hmm,
hardest thing to overcome, because we are taught to shame ourselves. Um,
mm-hmm,
but again, a lot of the times they're working on, getting rid of the roles or trying to fit into the genes. And it's like, I support your journey, but that ain't me. Like,
yeah.
I can't focus on any of that at all. I can't try to trick my mind and, like, instead of focusing on the scale, I'll focus on the inches, or instead of doing a weight loss number goal, I'll try to do a gold pair of shorts or beads. I've seen, like, people use beads and tape measures, and I can't do any of that. I literally cannot do any form of shrinking if I want to be successful and show up to the mat, because as soon as I add, um, you know, body transformation into my journey, it derails me and I end up, feeling like a failure, because it's really, really hard for me to lose weight. Thanks, mom. No.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, it's never good enough. So I just stopped even caring at all. And that's probably the hardest thing because I care a lot. I care too
Yeah.
much sometimes. Um, so to not care is really hard for me. But there are some things that are worth my energy caring for, and there are some things that are not worth my energy caring for. And in my mind, in my body, in this place I'm in right now, my energy cannot be focused on weight loss at all, period, unfortunately. And I'm in a fitness community, so make that make sense.
No, no. I mean, you like you said. DDP said this is the only first community said it's not just about body; it's a mental transformation too. And you said that
Hmm.
that clicked with you. That no other program you've ever tried said that.
Mm-mm. It's always been about how fast can you lose the weight, because that's how it's been. You pick up a magazine, it's like lose 30 pounds in 30 days. Um, any of the beach body stuff, they have in their workouts is like super fit people that make it really, really hard for me, because I went beach body for a little while. I tried T25 and hip hop abs with Shanti, and they were all way too like, that's another thing that I liked about DPY is the low impact, because, like, the jumping around, I don't have bad joints, but it still was not fun. I didn't get any joy out of it, especially since the people on the video were really good at it, and I'm like, dying in my living room after 10 minutes. So DDPY was more like it made me feel more welcome because it starts you off, slow and you build up instead of just starting off jumping around and trying to keep up with people who are way more advanced and than you are. Garrett was a huge like inspiration to me. Like seeing Garrett there was just like, oh my gosh, there's people who are badasses at this workout, kicking ass, and they don't look like the fit models that they usually have in the workouts. Not putting anything against Garrett because he is an amazing dude, and uh, he's amazing. I love Garrett, and seeing him was a huge help too. It was the mental transformation, and then seeing regular people who had success with the program in the workouts. It was all very welcoming. Where the other programs and the other fitness, stuff is very body focused and giving you these images and things that expectations and ideals that you'll never be able to live up to, and it's really disappointing and hard to keep going when you see I can't become that, so it's just what's the point? That's what it was always for me, was like, what's the point? 20 pounds and it wasn't enough, what's the point? I'll never look like that, what's the point? So coming to DDPY and seeing that there is a point other than body. There's a point because you're mentally better, you become a better person, you own your life, so that's why DDPY works for me.
All right. Well, for those that don't know, Garrett Sakahara, I don't know how to properly pronounce his last name. Sakhara, I think, Sakahara. But he is one of the instructors and also one of the people that do the recording and all of that stuff. He's big into the Ddp yoga community and been there for a long time. But he teaches a lot of classes on the app, and he has amazing flexibility. For his size, just amazing. I've always added how he sits with his legs and just amazing flexibility. But
well, that's the thing too. Another thing that society places on us, as far as like put us in boxes, they also tell us like what we can and cannot do. If you're a bigger person, then you can't do these things, But yeah, we can. I can do forearm stand at 230 pounds. So don't tell me what I can and can't do, but you
tell them what a forearm
society
stand
places
is.
It's gator on your forearms and you go upside down, inverted, feet in the air, head towards the ground. Totally upside down.
So it's like standing on your hands but with your forearms.
Yep, it's like a headstand, but your head is not on the ground. Your head is off the ground, and you're literally holding yourself up on your forearms. And it took a long time to get that. I started on the wall, and it's another fear thing, another comfort zone thing. Like the wall is comfort, and learning how to fall is probably harder than the actual move itself, because you have to learn how to fall because you're going to fall, But if you fall wrong, you could seriously injure yourself.
I always picture me hurting my shoulder.
Now, a lot of people, it's like their toes, because of how you come down. If you come down too hard, you're gonna. hurt your toe.
Yeah, DDP I saw in his instruction on how to do it is that you come down one leg first.
Mm.
Because if you come down both at the same time, you're going to hit your feet too hard.
Yep.
So, but I
You gotta
haven't gotten to
learn how
where
to.
I can do that yet. So, you're a beast. You know, yeah. The other thing I really liked about DDP is that he teaches it, and not only to people who aren't, I mean, who are say overweight or disabled or limited mobility. I mean, he tells you where to put your hand, where to step, where to do this. Step by step. Use a chair. Cheat till you have to, till you don't have
Yeah.
to. I mean, it's the whole program is designed for anybody, no matter what your restriction is. There's bed flex exercises, there's chair exercises. I mean, and so once you get good, like Stacy, there's extreme exercises to test yourself. So I mean, that you're never going to get bored if you get that app. There's always going to be somewhere else to go. So, but
Yep.
yeah, I mean,
That's
it's
true.
I've never seen. I'm I'm like you. I've tried every fitness and diet plan I could ever think of, and that there's nothing else out there that offers what DDP offers, or the community that is
Community.
DDP yoga. Let's talk a little bit
Definitely.
about the community. Tell me about that. When did you first get into the DDP yoga app and learn about all that?
So it was the 2020 Positively Unstoppable Challenge. January is when I finally. I'm super cheap, so like I don't like buying stuff if I don't have to, and I already had the DVD, so I didn't want
Right.
to. But I finally. Everybody talked about how much better the app was than the DVDs. So I was like, I get 30 days free from this book. Let's try it out. Um, and instantly, it was like so much different, especially with the heart rate monitor. Like seeing, you know, because it's almost like seeing your effort. It's like evidence. Like you did it, but also like having that, screenshot or that picture of seeing, how well you did or didn't do or whatever. Um, it makes all that difference, because it makes you want to show up the next day and see, what else, and the amount of workouts that are on the app. There's so many. That's when I started, like, because on the DVDs it's just DDP. Um, on the app, I found Garrett. I found Christina. I found Hayden. I tried a David Orth one. Um, so the app was the first place that I got to try other instructors besides DDP, and then the online workouts, happened, and that was huge because with the app, you have to either make yourself your own schedule, or you're relying on yourself to hit play. But with the online workouts, they were always at certain times. So I had to show up at 5:30, or else I wasn't going to get to work out with Ben or whoever. Um, so them having set times really helped me show up. And then also the connection, because we would chat, type stuff in, like what our heart rates were at the time, or if they would ask us too, like what moves we wanted to do for the day. And it was just the connection, that type of connection really um, helped me show up, and definitely helped me become the me I am today, and an instructor. Because taking those, if I wouldn't have taken the online classes, I don't know that I would have wanted to be an instructor. It was them inspiring me to show up that made me want to do that, like to feel that. And then also, too, I figured if I was an instructor, that means I'm still doing the the program. I'm teaching it, and I'm still getting, I'm still hitting the mat, so I can't stop if I'm teaching it. It gives me a little bit extra accountability, I guess. I don't know, but yeah, that's kind of how the app slash instructor thing happened.
What do you think about the new DDP Live, the way they're doing that now with the instructors and stuff?
I went to Travis's first one, but again, I am cheap. So
Mm-hmm.
I have the app. I already pay for the app, and I don't. And a lot of them, the times don't work out, especially now that my daughter's in school. In 2020, the pandemic was, just starting, so all she did was virtual school. So I was at home all the time, anyways. But when she started going to school, like picking up and dropping off, the times just don't mix. I should hit it up more though, but I'm so cheap. I'm so cheap.
Yeah.
But I want to be on there. Like, it's my goal. When Hayden did my assessment, I was like, what do I got to do to get on there? Because it's, the online workouts is what helped me. So, like, if I can give back in that way, like, that would be huge, for my journey. So, and I really like
Well,
it, because some people are scared to go to the gym. They're afraid to look silly or, whatever. And then that way I can give, local people and other people the opportunity to take a class with me if they want to.
I think that's great. I mean, I'd heard some people not being very happy with the way the live's going, but overall, I think they're trying to figure out a way to get all the instructors, under the DDPY banner and control, do a little quality control, and but also, help everybody get to what they need, and I don't know what it's ultimately going to look like in the end, but I know that it's difficult to pay $10 a class when you already got the app and everything else, and
Yes.
it's just I don't know what's going to come of that program. I know that some instructors are getting certified in other things so they can teach online and not teach
Yeah.
DDP yoga. So I don't know what
It's so
effect that's going to
hard that
have. Mm-hmm.
when they decided to do DDPY live, and I am not, I understand why and that it had to happen, and I'm not knocking the fact that it happened, but because it happened, it really put a big wrench in my journey, because the online workouts is what I've known for 2 years, almost 2 years, and it was really hard. It was disappointing. I was very, very disappointed, and I know we're supposed to live in the 90%, 10% what happens to you, 90%, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like my disappointment is valid in this case because, it helped me so much. But I'm trying to, get my fire back, because before the online workouts were happening, I was still doing it and having success. So I can do it. It's just finding that fire again, to hit play on my own instead of relying on other people to teach me. And also, I should be able to teach myself too. I'm an instructor. I could give
Mm-hmm.
myself a class if I wanted to. Um,
But
it was just it changed my routine.
that uh I forgot where I was. Oh, I know where I was going. There was one lady that I worked with on the Transform with Vance that she the only she didn't want to do any workout unless it involved going and being with people, and that it was the community part that had any that she had any desire or inspiration or any inclination to want to participate in. And so unless it was a group activity, she didn't even want to try it, because she knew she wasn't ever going to do it on her own. And so, I
That's the
think that
thing. A lot of times when I would do a workout, it would be like a 20-minute, one of the short ones. But whenever I did it online with my friends, it was always 50-minute workouts, and it didn't feel like 50 minutes. It went by
right,
so fast because you're getting that community connection thing that unfortunately a lot of us miss out on because we're so stuck in our fear of, judgment and everybody looking at us. And, because I don't like going to the gym, myself. I never liked going to the gym because I was always afraid everybody's looking at me and I'm not doing
yeah,
something right. And they're judging, either how I'm doing the
yeah,
thing or what I look like or, whatever. But, and it shouldn't be that way. We need that connection and community. So just got to stop hating ourselves.
yeah. I agree.
Stop
I
worrying
agree.
about judgments.
I don't know what the answer is, but they need to keep that community aspect of it going in the DDPY community, because that's, like Travis has really made a sub community inside the DDPY community, and
Yep.
everybody that I've talked to that was participating in that sub community is, they're really gonna miss that aspect of it, and they're willing to give up DDPY, I think, just to keep that community. And I'd hate to see that happen. I'd hate to see that. The community, like that DDP Yoga Facebook group, the community is what, there's two or three things that make this thing, in my opinion, I don't know, but two or three things that make this thing special is, Dallas, of course. Dallas is the driving force, the inspiration, the face, the, the
Positivity.
idea, positivity. I mean, without Dallas, there is no DDP yoga. It's just that simple. Without it, that it is what it is because of Dallas. And then the next is Steve and the community and how they've kept it positive and supportive and what all they do to give back. And it's there was three. I can't remember the third, but those two things really what makes DDP
Huge.
yoga special. Huge, yeah. And the third was that it's taught to everybody. It doesn't exclude people, and they've got workouts for everybody, and so it's an all inclusive kind of deal. And but if we lose one of those legs, like the community, I think it's going to be detrimental to the gang overall, because we that overall support is what makes us great.
Yep. 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 It was it was really fun, the doing the online workouts and stuff. But like I said, I get why he did it because Dallas actually called me. Um, he's called me twice. Both times, unfortunately, were bad situations. The first
Yeah,
time was the online classes getting taken away. I sent an email and was like, I am disappointed. And so he called me, which,
uh,
is crazy, to think he's got time, for
yeah.
little old me. It shows he cares. He really does care. Um, and I was hoping,
What
I
did he
always
say?
wanted that phone call. I always wanted that phone call, but that's not how I wanted to get it. Um, he
What did he say
explained,
about?
why they were doing, why it had to happen. And, if there was anything he could do. I mean, it's just like talking to your friend, like he's not,
Yeah.
I try to like see him that way too. I try not to put him up on a pedestal and be like too fangirly, like, cause he's just a dude, he's just a guy. He's just a awesome guy who created an awesome program that, works for thousands of people. But yeah, it was very, just easygoing. It was very easy. Not, I didn't feel pressure or like I wasn't worried about how I came across him because he's just that genuine type.
I mean, I
But
think
yeah,
they're
and
really, I mean, I think they're really concerned about how, how they've got a problem of making the magic that is DDP yoga, and then go into that next step of it, going everywhere and still having quality control and still being under the arm and still keeping that magic that makes it special. And so I don't know. I don't know the answer. Somebody smarter than me is going to have to figure the answer out. But if anybody can, it's going to be Dallas and Steve. If anybody can figure out how to make it spread more, it's going to be those two.
yeah, and I think DDPY Live will eventually evolve into something great. But just like with anything, there's going to be bumps in the road and things you have to overcome and get through to get to the good part.
Yeah. I'm curious. You said the second call was bad out of a bad
Oh,
what was that one
I
for?
probably he might not like me talking
Well, all
about
right.
it,
Well, if you
but
don't want to talk
they
about it, we don't. Yeah, we
no,
don't
I
have.
don't mind. I just if he gets mad at me, too bad. So you know how on the app with the points, if you get 500,000, you get like a cameo, basically a video message from Dallas for 500,000 points. And I had gotten 500,000 points, so I cashed it in for the cameo, and they sent me a cameo, and he started it off, like, hey, buddy, hey, Stacy, he did his whole spiel. This is DDP, owner of DDPY. Why? Because, and he did his thing. But then he started talking. He started singing "Happy Birthday." I'm like, "What's happening?" And he was like, 5-5. You're the diamond cutter. It was for somebody else. It wasn't the right cameo. They sent me, but
Well,
so
hey, look at it this way: you got
instead
a
of sending
call
me
instead
another
of a
one,
cameo.
I got a phone call instead. So yeah, I think I got a better deal out of it.
That's funny. That's funny.
But yeah,
Hey, if you'd have
I
made a
couldn't even
million,
watch it.
if you'd have had a million points, they would have sent you the right cameo. I promise.
Probably. No, it was pretty funny. It was yeah. Like but he told me like he had 12 different cameos that day, so they just like
Yeah.
he got all mixed up, and I can imagine like
Those,
between
those
everything that
guys
he's
are.
doing, between DDP yoga, the cameos, the jackstrap stuff, change your die, warrior's purpose, and the app workout, the live app. Like how do you do all that stuff and then have
I
time to
don't. Yeah, I
call?
don't know.
You know,
I don't know how
I
he
don't
does
know.
it. He's working 24/7 almost. I mean, him and Steve both. Steve was telling me he only sleeps like 4 or 5 hours a night. Or have you ever met
Uh,
Steve?
no, I got gypped because I started like when they stopped doing, well in 2019 there was workshops that I could have went to, but again, I'm cheap and didn't want to spend the money. And then 2020 happened when I really started getting into it and meeting people, and then pandemic. So I
Yeah.
haven't gotten to meet The only person I've gotten to meet, one person, is Melissa. I'm gonna say her name wrong. Gula, and then she's got a super Polish last name too. Wazinski, I think, is what it is. But she's one of the warrior women. She's in the warrior women with Samantha and Caitlin and Tina and uh, yeah, she's
I
in the
don't
warrior
think
woman group. So
I don't know her, but I think I'm taking I've taken Tina's and I've got Caitlin's coming up, so I'll have to get hers too. So
yep, she's one of the warrior
let's
women.
see. Let me hold
I
on.
knew
Let me
her
add her
from
to the
the.
list because I'll
Don't ask me how to
forget her.
spell it. Don't ask me how to spell it.
What? Well, just you said it's Gulia Winsky or something. I can find it.
Gula is like the middle. I think that might be a maiden name or a. I don't know, but it's Melissa Gula, and then it starts with a W. Super Polish, like my last name.
Winsky. All right.
There's like a C and a Z,
Now,
and but yeah, she's in the
all
warrior
right.
woman group with them, and she came just randomly. Was gonna get a rental uh, truck to pick up some furniture from a friend, and it happened to be in my town. And she was like, "Well,"
Mhm.
and she stopped. We had some coffee, and she's like the only DDPY person I've gotten to meet. I haven't gotten to do like a summit or a workshop
Oh
or
man.
none of that fun stuff, and it stinks. I feel like so gypped.
Well, that's the the partly COVID and
Yeah,
but it'll all come around. Travis and Justin are taking their show on the road
I
often.
know. They
So
were
that
gonna stop by me, but then they stopped at the PC and got, you know, wrangled up there, and it just didn't work out with their travels. But they were supposed to come stop in Nashville. It just didn't work out this time. Maybe next time.
oh man, I know Justin really had a good time, and I know he wants to do it again.
Hmm.
I haven't interviewed Travis yet. I need to interview Travis. Hey,
He
well, tell
helped me
me
a
this:
lot.
how has the transformation and the your progress in the DDP yoga um, workout and stuff? How has that helped you with your say? I mean, raising your kids. I know that you've been a
Yep.
stay-at-home mom. That's got to be a huge part of your life is participating in your kids' life. So, how has this helped you with being a better a mother, or if it has?
It definitely has. Not just with keeping up with them, because honestly, even when I was 30 pounds heavier, I probably would still try to do all the things. I'd go on the trampoline and stuff because why not? um but I do have a lot more strength and endurance, so that it does play kind of into that. But mostly where I feel like I've grown as a mother is more like emotionally being in tune emotionally with my kids, because before it was all about me and like how I was feeling, um, and how I was feeling reflected onto them. And now I have a lot more awareness as far as like how they're feeling and like how I should react to how they're feeling, um, and not just like react on how I'm feeling. It's a lot of mentally being a lot mentally stronger to be able to be there for them, and hopefully not. I'm trying to do the inner work so that I can break a lot of the generational patterns. Like the reason why I'm doing the body positivity and like not focus on weight loss is because of my kids, mostly my daughter, because like I said, women have a lot more of that pressure placed on them. But immediately when I knew I was having a daughter, a lot of my thought process changed. It's not about me anymore. It's about what I do and how it affects them. because they're watching everything that I do and everything that I say. So if I say, ugh, this is gross, like, bleh, she's going to see that and feed off that. And, but because they touch my tummy all the time. And instead of being like, don't touch that or ew, gross, I'm just like, it's soft and squishy, isn't it? Like how you speak about yourself in front of your kids, like it matters. Because my mom, like I said, I got a lot of my self-esteem issues from her and watching her gain and lose 100 pounds and constantly worrying about, her image and what she looked like and how big she was or how small she was. And that's why I hated myself. And I don't want that for Ari. And I know she's going to get it from other people. I know she's going to see other people hate themselves, and it might play into her as well. But I don't want it coming from me. I want to be a different kind of example for her and see like what it's like to, not say awful things about yourself, like actually embracing all the bits, those wiggly, jiggly, squishiness and scars and bumps and all the things that we're supposed to, hate and see as flaws and just like not focus on the negativity part of it and just embrace it. Like you don't have to love it. Like that's part of the self-love community is you don't have to love your body. There are things that you might not like and that's okay. But you should focus on like being neutral about it. Like instead of hating it and instead of loving it, you can just be like, this is a part of my body and it's a part of me and I accept it as a part of me, and it doesn't determine who I am as a person, because you really got to detach who we are from our physical body, because we are taught that who we are is, how we show up in physical form and everything else. But who we are is a lot more complex than that.
Yeah. Well, you had said something earlier. You said that women are ornaments. You didn't say women are treated like ornaments. You said women are ornaments. And I never really thought of it like that. I guess that's.
I mean, we shouldn't be. We should not be
Yeah.
ornaments, but we are ornaments. And instead of treating our bodies like ornaments, we should treat it, like use it for what it's, see it for what it can do instead of what it looks like what it does for us, because no matter what type of body you have, it still carries you through this life, one way or the other, whether it's in a wheelchair, whether it's, walking on your, no matter how you have a body, it does not matter. It's still helping you live this life, and we should appreciate that, in and of itself instead of constantly, seeing as reasons why, we should hate it or not think, it's good enough. See it for what it does and not what it can't do. Focus on what you can do.
Were there any books or YouTube people or anything that was really instrumental in your transformation that you could refer other people to?
Definitely the Gifts of Imperfection. That was a good book I read.
I love Brene Brown. Brene Brown, she's my hero.
I love her quotes. I've used a lot of her quotes in my posts in the past, because she's all about owning your story and believing in your truth. Another person I follow is Glennon Doyle. She had a book that I read. It's not really like it's kind of like a self-help book, and it's called Untamed. She finds out, after being married that she's not attracted to men anymore. And, she felt like she was kept in this cage. A lot of her stuff, my cage talk comes from her book, because we are placed in cages the minute we are brought into this earth, like depending on what you look like, where you come from, and, your abilities. Um, and we have to like fight every day to get out of that cage to find out who you are, because who we are is a lot of times suppressed by outside forces.
I'm adding Untamed to my book list here. I already had it on there. I already had Untamed on there, so that
Yeah.
I had that one on there. Anything else? Anything else you think of that was instrumental in your transformation?
Um. Hmm.
You're gonna have to give me a restroom break again too,
No
and then we'll
worries.
finish up. I won't keep you much longer. I know your kids are probably tearing up the house.
Yeah, probably. I heard them screaming. I think they're okay. Well, if you want to take a bathroom break, I'll try to think of like some other stuff. Um,
All right. Yeah, then I'll go back through my notes and ask you this. All right, you back?
yes. And I thought of one thing. I just started
Okay.
recently listening to this podcast called The Maintenance Phase. It's probably going to be controversial to some dieters because they do a lot of um, deep diving into certain specific diets and the creators of those diets. Um, but there's also certain episodes that are super educational as far as like um, realizing a lot of the things that we have been told are a lie, like the BMI. It's so messed up. It wasn't even like a doctor who came up with it. It was a dude who studied the stars. He was like into space stuff, and they only tested it on. They only like used white males in their studies, so like leaving out a whole bunch of people. Um, and they changed it randomly, like in the middle of the obesity epidemic. Um, they changed it just out of nowhere. No, the numbers are so made up. It's all just made up stuff that fucks with our brains and makes us believe
Yeah.
awful, awful things. And um, I've learned a lot, and just like with everything, you have to take what resonates and like leave the rest, because you can find anything on the internet these days to support your side, because there's always multiple sides, and you get stuck in this echo chamber of, like, this is the way, this is the way, this is the only way. Um, you can't see outside of that, echo chamber, but there's so much more out there. And when you look and find it, sometimes it's like, oh, I never thought of it that way. But then also sometimes it's like, no, it's with everything, take what works and leave the rest, and with DDPY, I had to take the mental transformation. I took, um, the low impact. I took the things that worked for me, making it my own, and I left the weight loss. You don't have to do, and the goals, because he goes by that list. Like, do the list. I don't do the
Yeah.
list. I've already read the book. I've done most of the things, but as far as like writing down, like, don't think it, ink it, like that stuff doesn't work for me. Um, But if you look anywhere, like it's law, like you have to have goals, you have to have a plan, and you can't procrastinate, which is a total lie because I'm a huge procrastinator and I still get stuff done. So, like,
Yeah.
don't listen to things that don't align. Like you can do it your own way, and that's okay. Like that's probably my biggest advice for people is don't think you have to do whatever the way somebody else is doing it. It's whatever works for
You know,
you. Same thing with the weight thing. Like I commented on your thing, and I was like, do what works for you. If this works,
mhm.
cool, stick with it. But also know that just because DDP says that's the way to do it, or somebody else says that's the way to do it, means that's the way to do it. That doesn't mean that that's going to work, but it also doesn't mean that it's not. But
Yeah.
just listen to your body. That's like the biggest thing is listening to what your body is telling you, what your heart is telling you, and not anybody else.
But yeah, Maria Pekaler, she um, weighs herself every day, and she's a beast. I mean, she's crazy. And I mean, you got, like you said, you just got to do what works for you. And I like what you said about the echo chamber. I think I mean that's a huge part of our society right now. Is that if we just follow down one line or one thought process, and we don't ever look anywhere else, the algorithms that are going to feed us are only going to feed us the same thing over and over again, to where we're only hearing the same people or the same type of people saying the same things. I've
Yep.
heard it called a silo effect, where you're just in this one silo, and then there's
Reverberation.
everything, yeah, there's everything else out there that you're missing, but the algorithms are just feeding you just the stuff out of that one silo. And so uh, I mean, I think it's great that you're trying to try as many different things as possible and take what works and doesn't work. I think that's a big part of my journey. When I first started, I had two principles: say yes and post everything online. Those are the yeah those are the only thing I because I knew I didn't know the right way, and I knew if I just started it and didn't tell anybody, I was going to quit and go back to my old ways. And so those
Yep.
two principles got me where I'm sitting here talking to you today. So,
Yes. Yep. And I'm talking to the
but
Vance Hines. That's
well, I don't know about thee.
how did that happen?
Yeah,
How
well,
did I
shit,
get
I'm
here?
inspired by you. Yeah, man, it's well, I want to ask you how you deal with trolls, because I think
Mm.
women have a lot harder, you know, a lot harder. Um, um, a lot. I mean, there's a lot more. There's a lot more asshole men out there wanting to comment on women than there is asshole people wanting to comment on men's bodies.
Yeah,
How do you handle all that?
I actually am not that popular, thank goodness. Um, so I don't get, the weird comments about, I mean, I do get, like, oh, beautiful or, um, whatever. But as far as like a negative fat shaming comments, I have not received those, thank goodness, because I honestly don't know if I could handle it. Um, but I follow, all these people who do get those types of comments, and watching how
Hmm.
they respond to them helps me, like find empathy in the trolls, because the trolls were me back when I hated myself. I would look at other people and judge them harshly because I judged myself that harshly, And so the trolls are just people like me who hate themselves so much that they project it onto other people. And so I try to see the empathy in that, and like, they're hurt people, but also don't be an asshole, like, do the work, do the healing work, like grow as a person
Yeah.
so you stop hurting other people. That'd be nice. Thanks. But I try
Yeah.
to see it in a different light. And the reason I do that is because of, the accounts that I follow and how they um, kill hate with kindness and not hate. Hate doesn't drive out hate. Only love can do that. And somebody super famous said that. I think it was Martin Luther King.
I think it was a Martin Luther King
Maybe.
Jr. quote. I think I don't know.
I think so.
I
Yeah, that's
love
what I
all
thought.
I love all the quotes though, because I see you quoting stuff all the time. You do a little longer stuff than I do a lot of times, but I check yours out. I get ideas from you. So
Yeah, I also do the little pictures or the memes with the quotes in them
yeah,
too. And a lot of times my posts are based off of those memes because they inspired me some way, to see things differently, or see it how I feel, how it makes me feel is how I put it in a post. Like I literally put my heart on a sleeve in my post. Like that's literally all that stuff comes from my heart.
I mean I think that's part of what our journey should be. Put yourself out there. If you don't, I mean I I can't tell you how much good I've got back from just putting myself out there and being vulnerable and telling my story as I go along. And then just wonderful things keep happening to me. It's like the universe giving back. And
Yep.
it's you
The
just keep
energy,
doing it.
everything
And
is a reflection. Everything is a reflection. What
yeah,
you put out is what you get back. So if you crave love, give love because you'll get it back.
yeah.
That's just how I try to philosophize,
No,
philosophy,
I
life,
like it. I
life
like it.
philosophy, everything's a reflection, the energy connection, it's all connected. Reflection.
I,
Yeah. So
I, I think the only question that I ask everybody that I hadn't asked you already is, what advice would you give to someone just starting out?
be yourself and be kind to yourself. Again, I think people, when they start off and they see, all the amazing people in the community, it can be kind of intimidating, and they want to show up like that, but you don't have to be like anybody except for who you are. Um, but don't let who you are be that negative inner voice because that's not who we are. That's what makes this life harder than what it already is. And so my advice is definitely be kind to yourself and just show up as you are and know that it's enough.
I like it. I like it. That last part I think is key, is know that it's going to be enough. And I think that's key. All right, let me look back at my notes and see what I got you. This is what I got your motto written down as. Let me make sure I got it right. It's not about how much I shrink, it's about how much I grow.
That's it.
That's it. All right. I'm gonna put that in your little summary. It's maybe that I got to put one sentence like as part of the podcast
Mm,
info, for the searches. I think that's what I'm going to put. I think. All
yes.
right, let's see. She and says you won the contest because you got to your motto and you got to this point in life. And body positivity accounts and love yourself. How's your back? How's your back at this point in life? Maybe neck and back.
Well, I mean, I can do forearm stands, so like I feel like that's a huge. If you look at me in my brace, in my back brace, and then me doing forearm stand, I think that's a huge indication of how DDPY works because I should probably be a lot more limited in my movement, but I'm not.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I'll
that
take
that
it.
that that ought to be your before and after picture.
I wish I had more pictures from back then, but I didn't never take pictures of myself very often, especially in that brace. And I had some on MySpace, but because that was way back in the MySpace days, MySpace got rid of all
Yeah.
my pictures. I found one where I was wearing a neck brace because when I got out of the full body brace, I got like one of those foam neck
Neck
braces
braces.
just to help,
Yeah.
from overextending, too much. But I found a picture of that, but no big brace. I can't find any pictures because that
Oh
was
man, that'd be a great picture.
2006. How
Uh,
many years
all
ago?
right. Now, I wanted to ask you about this: changing your truths. So,
Mm.
if it's the truth, how do you change something that's true already? So, how did you change your truths?
Uh, it's just like anything else. It's a choice. You have to make a conscious decision that this truth does not align with me. You have to have that self awareness again. You have to be aware, like, of the truth that you're telling yourself, which, back then was, I'm gross and a failure and all those things. Um, and eventually, like, it was me writing it down in that journal. When I wrote that down in that journal and I became aware, I made the choice to turn that page. And instead of leaving it there, I wrote, I am good enough on the back of it. That was me making the choice to decide that everything I wrote down was not true. Even though it was true in the moment because I wrote it down, it did not resonate. And so I flipped the page and I said, I am good enough. So it's literally just changing, like being aware of it, because if you're not aware of it, you can't change it. Um, but being aware of it and then, you know, telling it to fuck off. I hear
Yeah.
you. I
Hmm.
see you. I am aware that this is a thought in my head, but like, get out of here and start posting, I'm a badass. I'm owning my
Hmm.
life. I'm positively unstoppable. And the more you fake that shit, the more real it
Hmm.
becomes because you are showing up and doing it and saying you're doing it. So 2 plus 2 equals 4. Like, it's a constant choice. It's a constant fight. It's a daily struggle. Sometimes it's a hourly struggle. But as long as you're willing to be aware and keep making the choice to flip the script, then that's how you change your truth.
What's that quote that Dallas talks about that he always says from Muhammad Ali about
The
you know what
repetition
I'm talking about? Yeah, repetition.
of
Then it becomes a conviction. Once
yes,
you believe, I forget the quote, but it's a great quote. But he says it all the time. But you got to
the
start,
repetition
and
of affirmations leads to conviction. repetitions of
Leads to a
affirmations, something.
belief. It leads to a belief, and then once you have the belief becomes a conviction or something like that. And
Yep.
so you got to start telling yourself that stuff first, and then you'll start believing it, and then it'll become a conviction. So to change your truths, you have to tell yourself what's true.
Yep.
You have to convince yourself.
Yep.
That
You have to
damn.
unlearn. It's not about another quote that I like is sometimes the journey isn't about becoming anything. It's about unbecoming all the things that you're not, so that you can
Yeah,
become
I
who
like
you're
that.
meant to be.
So you can become yourself.
Hmm.
I like that. Um, I forgot what I was going to say, but I forgot. I
A lot
lost
of
my
stuff.
train
A
of
lot of
thought.
stuff is on the outside. Like we're searching, constantly searching, for things outside of us. But like the real peace and happiness isn't anywhere out there. It's
Mm-mm.
it's right in here.
I think
And
that's part of the Buddhist philosophy was. Buddha, they went and traveled around and figured out that it's not. Life is suffering. We're all going to get old and die. We're all sick. That's just
yep.
part of life. But what makes you happy is just being happy. How
Hmm.
you react to.
Deciding that, like happiness is my goal, not weight loss.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
Although weight
One
loss,
hundred percent.
I'm not shitting on weight loss goals because I know that it helps people and people need to do what is good for them and right for them. So if weight loss
Sure.
goals is that for you, definitely do that. But for those of us like me who never ever seen anybody have success um, without focusing on weight loss, like here I am, we're out here.
Yeah.
It's minority, but it's possible to um, not only have success mentally but also physically because I can do some pretty badass shit in my bigger
Well,
body, better than I could do
absolutely.
in my smaller body. So I couldn't do this
No,
shit when
you're
I
a
was
beast.
thin.
You're a beast on that mat. You can do a lot. You can do a shit ton more than I can. But shit, I forgot. I forgot. I missed it again. If I don't get it out quick, I lose it. But then there's one here written down. You said comparison is the thief of joy, and that kind of reminded me of the 12-step quote that talks about a slogan or something. Somebody told me compare and despair.
Mm,
So it's that comparison, and you threw a new kink into it that I hadn't heard before. Not just comparing yourself to others, but comparing yourself to a past version of yourself or a past vision of yourself. And I mean, so any comparison leads is comparison is the thief of joy. I like that.
yeah, yeah, and it's hard not to compare. Like our brains are
Mm-hmm.
literally wired to compare. Like we
Yeah.
see, we want. Like we're very superficial
Yeah.
human beings are, and that's kind of why we're where we are where we are.
Ah, I know what I was gonna say. You said that wherever you are in your journey, as you put it, like you said earlier, you wouldn't be where you are today if it wasn't for the experiences and things that happened to you in your life to get here to this point. So wherever anybody else is on their journey, that's where they're supposed to be right now. They'll
Yep.
get to where they want to be when they recognize where happiness comes from. And so I
and
I
and do
think
the
that's
work.
important.
because
Yeah.
you've got to do work. I mean, all of us want, happiness, and whatnot, but um, you've got to do work. It's a fight. Like I said, it's a struggle every day. Some days I win, some days I don't, but every day I show up and every day I accept the version of me that shows up. So that's what
Well,
makes
I
it a little bit
like it.
easier.
I like it. Hey, well, give your kids a hug for me for letting me pick your brain for 2 hours and 45 minutes. So,
They're laughing and having a good old time, so I think they're okay. But
uh,
I
yeah,
really
you
had
always
fun and
got.
enjoyed this. So
Yeah, well, thank you,
mommy
thank
needs
you. I
mommy
have
time
enjoyed it too.
sometimes.
Hey, but when you go out there, it's going to look like a tornado hit your house. You know that.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna have to do all my other mom duties, which is pick up after their tornado mess
Yeah,
and
but you
feed
wouldn't have
them.
it any other way.
No, absolutely not.
Uh, what does the future hold for Stacy Podgorski?
Oh, that's a hard question because I don't
Yeah.
know. I do not know, and um, I didn't know in 2020. Like when I was writing in my journals and stuff, I was like, "What is my purpose? What should I be doing?" And then I found purpose in becoming an instructor, but like now I don't know if that's what I want to do, as far as like turning it into something, because I became an instructor basically for my own growth. Like I just wanted to prove to myself, like, you can lead. You are a leader. You are a Leo, and you can face your fears and help people. So it was mostly for me. So to like ask other people, I don't want to add money into it. I do this for fun. I do it for me. Um, I don't want to make money off of it. I just don't. But I put a lot of money into it. It costs money to sign up. It costs money to get in the insurance. And so, like, it'd be cool if I could make some money back. But I don't know if that's what I want to do. So, like, now the purpose of instructor, like being an instructor, I can still fulfill that. It's just I don't think that's going to be like my career. I'm not going to make money off of it. It's just for fun.
Yeah.
Um, but now I'm stuck because the kids are getting ready to go to school, and I got to find something to do with myself. I don't know if I want to go back into banking. I don't know if I just want to, be a bartender again. I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know if I should go back to school. That's a big, big question for me right now where I'm at, and I cannot answer it. I'm trying to just like surrender into the unknown and just hope that, I'll end up where I'm supposed to. Whatever is going to happen is going to happen, and it'll be exactly how it's supposed to happen. So I'm just going to keep
That's
doing what
right.
I'm doing. I'm just going to keep going, keep, trying to grow as a person and see where life takes me.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't think that a bartender job would be ideal because of the time. Seems like you'd have to work nights, and that's when the kids would need
That's
you
when
if
the
they're
kids are
in
going to be
school.
home. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that would. I mean, unless you could find a daytime bar, I don't know. Maybe there's a racetrack or something around there. You'd work bar during the day. I don't know, but or casino. Do they have casinos there?
Yeah. No, not in my town. And
Yeah,
I don't know
so
if it's
I
legal.
don't.
I don't know.
But the I don't know. I don't know, but it's I like the idea of putting it out to the universe and then see what the universe produces.
Yeah. Well, when I think
I
about it
do.
too much, it stresses you out. You start overthinking it, and it kind of just, I don't think that's something I need to overthink. I think that's just something that kind of needs to fall into place, because this fell into place, like me being here on this journey as an instructor just kind of aligned on its own. Everything fell into alignment. So that's what I'm kind of hoping will be my next step, is just things will just start falling into place if I just keep going. Hopefully. With a positive attitude, of course, because that is key.
Well, I always pictured you like a hippie, like
Yes.
a hippie, a flower, because it's a flower child. is your name
Handle
on
on Instagram.
Instagram? Flower Mama. What is it? What is your name on Instagram?
Sunflower Child.
Sunflower Child. Yeah. So I always figured you was kind of like an old hippie kind of person.
Indeed. I am a hippie at heart. I love my trees. That's why I feel like I belong here in Tennessee, because I have all my trees and connection with nature and all that stuff. I'm 100% hippie at heart. I definitely
if somebody
embrace
wanted
my
to
hippiness.
follow you, if somebody wanted to follow you on your journey, where could they follow you?
Instagram is the place to go.
If you want people to follow you.
Instagram is the place to go. Yeah, and I can't. I screwed it up on the BTTR podcast when I said it, so I don't want to, because there's an underscore and I can't remember where it goes. There's an underscore somewhere in there, but it's Sunflower Child 86, and I think it's underscore Flower Child, maybe, or Sunflower underscore Child. I don't know.
Here, wait a minute. I can look real quick. Let's see. Let me pull up Instagram. I can tell you, but it's important that people need that body positivity message and the self love, and they need and all your quotes. They need to know how to get a hold of you.
Yeah.
Sunflower Child. 80 Sun underscore Flower Child 86.
Awesome.
Sun
I knew there was an
underscore
in there.
Flower Child 86. So that's, if you want to follow her on Instagram, and you can see what I'm talking about with the body positivity and with the quotes and all the positive energy that she gives out through her social media. And also, you'll be amazed at some of the poses and things that she does. So she's a beast.
I appreciate you, Vance. Thank you so much for letting me bullshit with you for the last almost 3 hours now. It's been super cool. A lot more chill and easy, easy to talk to. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate you doing it and letting me waste almost 3 hours of your Saturday afternoon. So.
Not a waste at all.
Yeah.
I got to tell my story. Right. That's a beautiful thing. Thank you.
Well, that's all I hope to do, is to give some people the opportunity to tell their story the way they want it to be heard. And so that's my goal in doing these things, and I enjoy it. I like talking to people, and I'm always curious, and so I just like bullshitting. I can tell you, I was a philosophy major undergrad, so I did I lose you? I lost you. Let's see, maybe she'll come back. I guess. Let me turn off the record. I think we're done. She said her headphones died or something. She thinks her headphones died, so I guess we lost her. But thank you, Stacy, for doing it. Thank you for being on the show. We really appreciate your positive message and spreading the love and kindness into the world. So let me stop this and get over here and tell her how to keep her upload going. Thank you again, and we will see you next time with another DDPY success story. Thank you for listening to the podcast today. I'm your host, Vance Hines of Transform with Vance, where transformations begin every day. Please take a moment, if you will, if you like the podcast, to subscribe and follow, and you can find us on social media as well, either under Vance Hines or Transform with Vance. Please tune in and subscribe to our feed. You'll be able to hear lots of transformation stories. I'm in search of interviewing as many transformations as I can find. So if you have a transformation that you would like to have someone interview and have and appear on the podcast, just send me the name and number, message me, and I'll reach out to them and try to get them here. But no matter what, a better life begins on the mat. Get on the mat and start your transformation today. Thank you.